Hi, this is John Doyle, and I just thought I'd talk about the Libya um, crisis, incident, whatever you wish to call it. Um, I'm just interested in the way how, I don't know, I'm worried, I suppose. It reminds me a little bit of the Iraq-Afghan recent situations where we illegally removed we had regime change, which is against international law, which is what we did to both countries, although that's not what we set out to do. I say we, I don't really include myself within that because I was against both of them in the first place. And it is interesting how we don't seem to have learned the lessons from those incidents, and we still seem to be acting in the same manner, which is very worrying, and it shows no real progress of our leaders. Um, and what worries me is also the way it's being reported, the way that obviously we've had the Egypt and what was the other country where they had uprisings, and it's interesting how with this one there's still some media outlets are still referring to them as protesters, and it's an interesting concept because obviously it makes the regime, which we call regime, which sounds a very bad word, and some think it's not a government, it's a regime, so it's that already gives it an overtone. And the protesters, obviously, they're just nice protesters, like our students who protest against things. It's interesting, actually, when our students protest and they throw bottles and they attack the police, how government officials say that this is a bad thing and they shouldn't be doing this. It should be peaceful protest. And obviously in Libya, what started off as peaceful protesters, now these protesters have guns, and these protesters are taking over bits of land, and for want of a better word, are rebels, which some media outlets have started to refer to them as now. But the rebels are still the good rebels. But it's just very interesting because I do wonder, and I would love, wouldn't really love, but in this argument, as it were, that if this was to happen to some countries in the West, specifically Britain and America, if we decided, the public, the people, as it were, decided that we would have an uprising because we don't like the fact that, say, in Britain we have a government we didn't actually vote for. We have a coalition government. There was no majority government, so they formed a coalition, although that is illegal, but still, nevertheless, it isn't the government the majority of people specifically voted for. So if we decided we didn't like our government for for that reason, same as say the Libyans don't like the idea that they have for a dictator, I guess is the definition that he would be because he wasn't voted in. And what kind of we would whether it would be allowed for us British people to pick up arms and start shooting people and taking over bits of Middlesex and Croydon and wherever else, and we would be fairly supported by the United Nations. I don't think so somehow. Because and also in America, I wonder what would happen there. I wonder whether President Obama, Nobel Peace Prize President Obama, within how many months did he get that for doing nothing and still keeping troops killing people illegally, I might add, in Afghanistan and Iraq, and yet he is a Nobel Peace Prize winner. Okay, and obviously he's skirting around because he doesn't want to look like another Iraq and Afghanistan or Vietnam. Which I do think, personally, I do think this is going to be in one of those categories, although it's starting off at the moment with people sort of trying to make out that it isn't an Afghanistan and Iraq, and we don't really want those kind of comparisons, but that was the same when Iraq was about. Majority of people believed that Iraq was a legitimate war and that they did have weapons of mass destruction, and most people were hoodwinked, including the media, except the BBC, and they obviously were told off because they actually did say that they were, and Channel 4, that they were against the war. I know this doesn't mean anything to the worldwide public. Anyway, so this is interesting, the way that we can report things, the way government can twist things, when it's, I mean, I do wonder why Libya is the one we're deciding to take a big issue with. There's other countries, Middle Eastern, Islamic countries, that have had these uprisings that we haven't intervened with. Maybe that's because they're our friends. And Libya is obviously, well, it did used to be. Britain, I seem to remember, was quite friendly recently with Colonel Gaddafi, but now apparently we're not. And we're deciding whether to go in, which I think would be a very big mistake, although I'm sure there must be a reason for it. I think maybe it is to do with, do they have oil? Do they? I don't know. Because why didn't we go into the other countries? Because usually we only go in, and this is very cynical, and I know people are going to say, oh, no, this isn't true. This isn't the only reason we go in. We don't go in for oil. We go in for humanitarian reasons. Okay. But then, okay, what about Palestine and Israel? That issue's been going on forever. I mean, at least if you try and actually look at the argument there with Israel and Palestine, Israel having taken over the land, making Palestinians live in unfair conditions, in camps, as it were, and I don't see the military coming in there. From the United Nations or America or we just sit down and have talks for 40 years about how we're going to have a roadmap, I believe was the term. Who was that? Was that Barack Obama? I can't remember. What a wasted presidency he has had. Anyway, so I would be interested in your thoughts. Please post your comments, and also, if you can make some videos, that would be very interesting, and we can have a bit of a debate about this whole Libya whole issue. And please, if you're going to put, obviously, I know this is going to give contrasting views, please try and give some reasoning rather than just having verbose attacks, which is very easy, and you can if you want to, but it would be a lot more better if you gave some kind of, after that, some kind of reasoning behind it. Because who knows, we never see the full picture, and we should never believe that we see everything. We should always look for, to quote Phil Collins, both sides of the story. But it is interesting that it's another Islamic country that we're going to invade. And of course it is interesting that these whole uprisings seem to be happening in the Middle Eastern area, country after country. Very interesting. I don't know how this has happened. I'm sure I don't believe it's quite as innocent. I mean, I know a lot of people say, this is conspiracy and the moon landings and John F. Kennedy and Elvis and etc. But we all do know, seriously, anyone who's been around with the Iraq and Afghanistan issue, we've seen in our own century how our politicians, who we all believed being the good guys, how they do operate, how they lie to us. We could see how Tony Blair and President Bush both lied, how they made the dossiers, the whitewashes, everything that happened there. You only need to look up all this stuff, and then you'll see, unfortunately, in our own lifetimes, our Nixons doing what they did. And you only have to look back at the history. If you look at Michael Moore's is it Bowling with Cumberland, which mentions all the different incidents that America has, the assassination attempt, assassinations that it's carried out, the regime change around the world for the 60s and 70s and before, and in Britain, I'm sure Britain has been involved in these, and European countries as well. I mean, we like to believe in black and white. We like to believe in the West is good, and the Middle East is bad, and they have dictators, and that means they must be bad, and we have democracies, they must be good. But we tend to live in this very Orwellian world, which is what George Orwell in 1984 and Animal Farm tried to put across. And I do find that we're using the same tactics, governments are using the same tactics, giving us Big Brother to hate, and using certain words, and there's very subtle ways you can make the masses believe that what you're doing is right. And we all, not all of us, but majority of people, not me, thought that what was happening in Iraq was right. But we now know that it wasn't. I mean, there's no one who can say that what happened there, we know. I mean, if you still want to not believe, that's up to you, but you can see the evidence. So we must be careful to believe the people in power, even though they are from the West, the good side, that we're not being again led down the same damned path. I hope not, but I do think that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to play it slowly this time, but I think eventually we're actually going to get to the same situation again, and they're going to get away with it again, as they have done. Anyway, that's it for me. Take care, take it easy, God bless, and peace.